back to Candy's Classic Game Shrine, everyone, and today I'm going to go over some of my favorite gaming memories. I've been into video gaming pretty much since I've developed motor skills, and there's been many years of memories that I've created along the way. So I wanted to share some of my favorite memories with all of you. First up, these aren't in any particular order. They're all very memorable and important to me. These are all going to be positive memories, funny, not really sad or anything like that, so you don't have to worry. And without further ado, let's get started. On my wedding night, my husband and I, we brought our Nintendo DS Lites with us, or no, I think they were DSIs. We brought our DSIs with us, and we had gotten a hotel room for the night, and I had decided to drink, me not being a drinker. I got a little buzzed. We were in the hot tub that our room had, and we got drunk and played Mario Kart DS and I think Photo Dojo, which was like a free DSi game at the time, and it was just really funny. It was one of the few times I got drunk, and most people spend their wedding nights doing other things. Me and my husband, we spent it playing video games. Mario Kart DS mostly. And Mario Party DS. But yeah, that was one of my favorite things. It was innocent, it was fun, and it showed that he appreciates the hobby as much as me. Or at least is willing to put up with it, you know. Another memory that I had was when I was a kid, my parents, more so my dad, made it a point to take me, and eventually when my sister was born, my sister, to either Toys R Us or at the time we had an EB Games in the States. We had also a store called Software Etc., and that was my jam. That was the best gaming store on the planet to me. And if I wasn't at Toys R Us, I was at Software Etc. picking out a new game. But Toys R Us, for whatever reason, holds a fond place in my heart because of back in the day, if you wanted a video game or some sort of electronic, you would have to go and take a piece of paper that had the price and the barcode, and you'd have to take it up to the front desk and have them scan it, and then have them take it for you. It was a tedious process, but being able to go there and know that you were able to get a ticket and you weren't the last one, it was a fun feeling. And being able to do that with my parents was a lot of fun, and eventually my sister, and we'd go home and we'd play with our toys and the video games, and it was just so much fun. This one's a pretty funny memory. I think I was maybe like 12 at the time, and this is just trying to remember in the past. I was playing Resident Evil. I was in my basement with my cousin. We were playing it together, and my basement had no real windows, so it was really dark. So it was the perfect place for all my gaming. And there was also the main bathroom that my whole household shared. And my dad had come down to take a shower, but knew that we were playing Resident Evil and that it was a scary game. So he snuck down the stairs, crept up behind the couch, and scared the ever-living shit out of me and my cousin, to the point where my cousin got so scared he took one of those decorative plastic candy canes, because it was around Christmas time, and he chased my dad around the house and tried to smack him with it. It was so freaking funny, and I think I got more enjoyment out of my cousin being terrified than I did actually playing the game. Good times, good times. Resident Evil games still scare me to this day. Another memory that I had was when my sister was born. She was too young to show an interest in Pokemon, but by the time Generation 3 rolled around, she really started to show an interest, so I decided from that generation on, I would make it a tradition to buy my sister one of the Pokemon games that are out for her birthday. It stopped around whatever generation X and Y were, because I had gotten married and moved away, and she just kind of lost interest in the series. But it was always fun watching her face as she unwrapped the Pokemon game that she had been hoping for. I always made sure I got the opposite one as her so we can always trade together, because when Gen 1 and 2 were around, I had to get another Game Boy and the opposite version so I can trade. Didn't have many friends, and especially many friends that were into Pokemon, but it was a nice way for her and I to bond. And I remember the most memorable trip was walking, I think I later checked it to be about 8 miles. I had walked to, in the blistering sun no less, to a KB Toys to pick up Pokemon Ruby for her. And I had gotten Sapphire since that's my birthstone. And, oh man, even though it wasn't one of my favorite generations, the memories I created going to purchase the game and my sister's memories and enjoyment of playing it made it so much fun for me. And it was actually one of the first games I ever emulated too. It's funny. On the topic of Pokemon games, I had mentioned that I started with Red and Blue originally in a video in the past. But honestly, my most fond memories are with Gold and Silver. For whatever reason, I enjoyed going back to the past in Kanto in that game, because it helped me feel like I grew with it. And I love the new designs of the Pokemon, and the music in it is just some of the best music in a Pokemon game today, I feel. I remember being so distraught. I had lost my copy of Gold, and I went out and I purchased another one, and I wound up completing a physical Pokédex in both Silver and Gold. Those games helped me get through some rough times while my grandfather was in the hospital a lot. We would spend a lot of time going to and from the hospital to visit him, and I remember sitting there with him, showing him the game, showing him the Pokemon, and that was the game I remember playing the last day that he was alive. And there were some good memories made while we played that game. Back in the day, when you wanted to rent a video game, or actually, let me scratch that and start even further. Back then, if you wanted a video game but didn't want to buy that video game, you could rent it from a physical store. Okay, now that that's out of the way, back when you would have to rent your video games, it was kind of like an adrenaline rush. You know how people like going for Black Friday sales simply for the rush of crashing through the crowds and everything like that? That was kind of the feeling when you rented a video game on a Friday after school. When everyone let out of school, everyone's parents got paid normally, and they all had the money to go and rent whatever the hottest video games were. And for me, it was always a challenge to get Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island for the SNES. You're all probably wondering, really common games, why didn't you have them? Growing up, I only ever had, I think it was like 5 games for the SNES, including the Super Game Boy. That's not really a game, so I'm just trying to stretch my numbers using that. But yeah, I always loved the art style of the Yoshi's Island game, and I always loved Yoshi, so it was always a challenge getting it. And when I rented it, oh my gosh, it was great, because my save file would normally still be there because I lived in a small town and rented from a mom and pop place. Oh, man. It's good to see, well, I'm not going to say it's good yet. It's interesting to see that GameStop is going to be bringing back physical rentals for games. So let's see. Don't screw it up, guys. This has potential. Today, the concept of Let's Plays and watching other people play video games for entertainment, it's not really that much of a foreign concept, but back then, it was a huge family thing for me. We would wait, my mother and I, till my dad got home from work, and we would gather around the family TV, and we would either play Atari 2600 or NES. My mom would only play the Atari 2600. Her favorite game, as awful as it is Pac-Man. And my dad would like the NES games more. They were more in-depth. He preferred Legend of Zelda 1 and 2. We had them. We had a ton of LJN games like Jaws, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What are some other ones we played? We played Dick Tracy was another one that was awful, but we played. And Gradius. I recently did a review on it. You can check it out in my videos. He got me really addicted to that. Donkey Kong 1 and 2 were another one. Super Mario Bros. 2, the American version, was his favorite Mario game, so he would play it often. And just from watching him play, I wound up learning, just from memory and sounds, where certain warp levels were, or how to beat certain bosses. And to this day, when I pop in Donkey Kong Jr., I'm brought back to when I'm like maybe 3 or 4 playing these with him, and it just brings me back to a really good time. This memory is sort of recent. For those of you that don't know me, I live close to New York City, but I'm in New Jersey. However, I despise going to the city. I hate crowds. I hate crowded places. I hate very loud noises. My anxiety just goes through the roof. I can't handle it. But I dragged myself out. I was going to meet a couple of friends that were coming from out of state, and we were going to visit the Nintendo World. Now it's Nintendo New York. And it was around the same time that Happy Home Designer was being launched. But they were having an event later on that evening and that weekend. But there was no way I was going to be coming back. But they were giving away these binders for the amiibo cards. And I remember going in, and I didn't even beg the guy. I just asked. I'm like, please, would I be able to convince you to give me one of the cards, or the card binders? My birthday is tomorrow, which I wasn't lying, it really was. And I really don't feel like coming back to the city because it's really stressful. You'd make my day if you did. And the guy, he looked at me, he's like, really? He's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm not lying, I promise. I'm like, I'm a huge Nintendo nerd. Not lying. It would make my day to have it. So he's like, all right, hold on 1 second. And he goes in the back and he picks up this. And he got me the binder. These things were going for hundreds on eBay because they were a promotional item and you had to go to one of the events in order to get it. And the guy was really nice and he gave me this and a couple other things. And no lie, I wasn't joking. I do use it. It's full up down to the last page. And it made me feel really fuzzy inside because anyone that's familiar with New York in this area, we're not the friendliest people. We tend to be pretty blunt, pretty abrupt, and rough around the edges. So that act of kindness went a long way, helped me ease my anxiety even, and it was something I'll remember, and his generosity won't go forgotten, or won't be forgotten. This is going to be my last memory for this video. However, it's a really important one to me, and that is, in all of my years of gaming, my 20-something years of gaming, I've met a lot of great people, and whether it's the memories of meeting new friends in the line while waiting for the latest amiibo to launch, or meeting people online that I've done transactions with and wound up hitting it off over a common love of games, or even meeting friends in the most unlikely of places, like the Virtual Boy community. And it's things like that that make me really grateful to be a gamer, really grateful to be in this community, and really grateful to see all the good things that people do. And I'm really, really excited to continue making more memories as the time goes on. Okay everyone, that's my video for today. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, blah 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 blah. Social media crap is in the description, and until next time guys, take care.